Hello. So we're in chapter 3, right? Which is on consciousness. They give a very general definition of consciousness, if I can say it, being aware of ourself and the environment. So consciousness is sort of what we are consciously aware of at a given moment in time, right? And so that flows and ebbs throughout the day, what we're consciously aware of. And so they do mention, though, start talking about some phenomena related to attention towards the beginning of this chapter. So they mention very early on in this chapter the notion of selective attention, that what I attend to, what I choose to attend to and be conscious of is selective, right? We have a selective attention. It's impossible for us to pay attention to every little detail that's going on all the time. Our attentional state does not cover that much material. So we have to selectively attend the stimuli that are important to pay attention to. All right? And so you have lots of stuff going on in terms of parallel processing. They mention there are lots of things occurring in the brain simultaneously in terms of parallel processing, multiple stuff happening simultaneously. And of course, some of that's going to be conscious, and some of that is going to be unconscious. I don't mean anything mysterious in terms of Freudian unconscious. I just mean there are a lot of automatic activities that the brain engages in to keep our body functioning and keeping us alive. So that's important. And then some of the phenomena they talk about here towards the beginning of the chapter, they do mention this phenomenon of blind sight awareness. And blind sight awareness is basically where a person can respond to a visual stimulus without consciously experiencing that stimulus, without consciously being aware of that visual stimulus. So in the past, they've done some studies with actual blind individuals, asked them to walk down a hallway. There's stuff in the hallway they can run into, but they tell them the hallway is clear, and yet the blind person avoids the stuff, the visual stimuli that are in the hallway. They don't run into it. Even though they don't know it's there, they don't run into it. So there seemed to be some other processing for visual information other than the main stuff we know from our eyes in terms of actually seeing things. And there's a link to, I can add for a brief description of a study where someone does that with normal vision individuals, where they just, for a fraction of a second, blind them, and they can identify what kind of object was shown for that time when they were blind. So something weird's going on there, but so some information might be processed visually other than the main pathways that we know of, which is fascinating. And then they also mention in the textbook too these brain images, right? These brain imagery studies of normal healthy people versus patients that are in comas, right? And they had a normal, obviously conscious, awake individual, right? Imagine playing tennis and scanned their brain while they were doing that. And they had this individual, normal individual, once again, imagine walking through their home, and they imaged their brain while they were doing that. And they did the same thing to unconscious coma patients. Imagine playing tennis. You just tell them that and do a brain scan, and you see the same parts in the brain active in the coma patient as you see being active in a normal person who imagines that thing. Same thing for imagine them walking through their home. So this opens up a lot of possibilities that would be fascinating to be in on the research on that.